First time joining an ILE virtual meeting this year, you're going to want to go ahead and join our classroom. It's where I've linked our slides for the day as well as a checklist. I like having something physical to look at just to kind of know where I'm going. If you're interested, you can print one out as well and kind of follow along, take some notes, whatever you'd like. And we'll get started in just about another minute or two. Let some more people join us. You are here because you're interested in how to use slides and docs, hopefully to make your job a little bit easier. In case you have joined us since I kind of gave my little spiel, you can either join our Google Classroom and you can access today's slides and today's checklist, or you can go into the activities, the triangle, square, circle, click into Q&A, and you can access those two documents as well. And those will be there the entire time. They won't disappear like a normal, chat kind of goes away. So with that, let's go ahead and start. So I am Jessie, and I'm part of a team that really does all things digital learning. I used to work full-time with that team, and this year I am full-time in a classroom at Arlington. This is my room. I teach bio and chemistry, and I'm extended day, so I'm 20% with ILE, and my job is to offer tech trainings. So welcome. My hope for the day is if you can walk away with something new, discover part of a Google tool that will help you in your role, whatever it be, if you're a teacher, office support, anywhere in the district. I hope you find one thing that you're like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. So you're discovering something new. And then I hope that you're able to walk away with one new thing that's going to aid your workflow. Whatever it is that you do on a daily basis, I really hope that something today is like, oh yeah, I could use this. This is helpful. If at any point you have questions, right now there are only 6 of you guys. Please feel free, unmute, stop me, let me know what you guys need. This does not have to be very formal. I was expecting there to be like 45 people, so it was going to be a little crazier. But as of right now, there's 6 of you. So if you have any questions or you're like, wait, go back, hang on, what did you do? Please feel free to unmute, let me know. That's why I'm getting paid right now, is to help you guys. So you should have seen a slide like this if you've been to any of our ILE trainings so far this year. What you'll see on the left-hand side is kind of our buckets, so to speak. So this training falls into foundational digital tools. We are focusing in on docs and slides, really just to try to help improve your day-to-day workflow. And then if you're looking on the right-hand side, those are our ISTE standards for educators. Whether you are directly in a classroom with students or you are in the district elsewhere, really today we're kind of leaning into this learner piece right here. So just learning the tool, tips and tricks, and how to use it maybe in a way you hadn't thought to use it previously. This slide I hope looks familiar regardless. These are the big 4 and the big 3. So everything we do, regardless of what position we're in, is to try to improve student learning. For today's training, because it is not designed specifically for teachers, we are kind of in this outside role, and we're really just trying to prepare our environment, whatever environment that be. These tools are probably more going to be behind the scenes. Yes, students can use them too, but a lot of the stuff will be behind the scenes that you would prepare either to help kids directly or to help people help kids. So without further ado, we're going to jump into slides. This is not necessarily like, here's how you create a new slide. We're going to look at things like looking at activity dashboard, how to edit the overall theme of your presentation, if you wanted to add fancy fonts, create placeholders, use the Explore tool, use slides to do a graphic organizer. And then those last 2 that have the asterisk, those are specifically for teachers, or actually, I think I said that incorrectly. The way I think about them is through the lens of a teacher. I've seen Pear Decks in staff meetings, but they're a little more teacher-y. So if you are not in the classroom and you're like, I don't think so, That's okay. Just a heads up. I wanted to give you kind of a disclaimer early on. Those last two are kind of for teachers, but you could use them in other ways as well. All right. In Google Slides, this is a fairly new tool, maybe the last couple of years. You can actually go in and you can see who's looking at your stuff. And this is not just a slides thing. This is in docs and sheets and slides. So if you go into tools and you click activity dashboard, so let me get out of full screen mode. And I will try to show you most everything real time live. And you can always come back to the slides for screenshots and like, wait, where did she click? But if you go into tools and you look at activity dashboard, this will show me who's looked at it, when, so who it's shared with. And then if I go to all viewers, so this is not necessarily who did I share it with directly, but who has access to it in the district. Look at all these within the last hour. This afternoon, here's looked at them. And then you can also look at trends and comments, and share history, and privacy settings, all kinds of stuff. So if you wanted to go back and track and see who's opening your stuff, who's looking at it, when did they look at it, let's say, you know, you've made changes and you saw that your coworker didn't look at it except for a week ago. You're like, okay, no, they don't know what updates I've made because they haven't seen it. Now, just a heads up, there is this little disclaimer at the bottom. If someone has opted out, they will not show up in activity dashboard. So just because you don't see them doesn't automatically mean they haven't looked at it. It might mean that they have opted out, and then you can always click and learn more here if you are interested. So activity dashboard kind of gives you a way to see at a glance who's looked at your stuff, who's accessed it, and then you can kind of go from there with how you want to handle things. If we're going to the next thing on our checklist, so I'm using this document. I go through here and I just kind of go, okay, like step by step, where are we going? If we're looking at editing our theme, let me actually open up a new slideshow just so I have a blank kind of playground to show you guys. So I opened a brand new, like blank, boring, sad slideshow. If I want to edit, not this theme over here, not one that's pre-made, but I want to create my own fancy, new, beautiful something or other, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click into slide and I'm going to click on edit theme. Right now, it just says it's simple light. This is kind of my master slide. Whatever I put here will go on to every other slide. So for example, let's say I want every slide to have an orange heading because it's almost Halloween and I want it to be bold, and I don't think I have a Halloweeny looking font. Actually, you know what? We'll just use that one. It's nice and bold, and I want to make it super big. Notice here and here and here and here, it's changing automatically on all those other slides because I'm changing kind of that master. So anything that has that kind of title style to it is now going to look like this. Let's say I want all of my bullets to be in Boogaloo, and that looks really small to me, so I'm going to make it kind of big. And I don't want it gray, I want it black. So now as I go through, you'll notice it's smaller, but it's still that Boogaloo and it's black. It's Boogaloo and it's black. Again, Boogaloo and it's black. And then down here, it even changes that here as well. So this is kind of your, you want it to show up on everything slide. These ones you would change to be your different layouts. So let's say, I don't know, let's go to a blank one. Let's say on this blank slide, you really want to have it, I don't know, let's say you want it to be in this blue color, and you want all of these to have, I don't know, a little smiley face in the corner, and you're like, yep, this is what I want every single blank slide to look like. So we've adjusted like all of our slides with this one. And then we went and we customized this one, and it's called Blink. If you would like, you may rename this. So I'm going to call it Blue. And then when I'm done here, all the changes save automatically. So I can just close this out. Now, if I go new slide with layout blue, it inserts pre-done, ready to go. Now I can add whatever I wanted. Oops, that's my text box. Whatever I wanted. And notice it's still in Boogaloo. It's black. It's ready to go. So the way I did that, I want to change the base kind of background theme. That way I don't have to edit every single slide individually. I click on slide. I click on edit theme. If I do this top one, that's going to change all the slides in the slideshow. If I change these ones down here, that will change just this one layout. Okay, and then anything that I add, so it's here, my layout, you can kind of preview them all here. Just a heads up, remember everything is going to be pre-done with whatever you want on your slide. So earlier I referenced if I'm making kind of a Halloween one, right? I'm in my slide, I'm editing my theme. I did this one because it was kind of Halloweeny. And I'm like, dang, I don't have any of those eerie, drippy fonts. What I can do is I can, let's go to fonts, more fonts. So this is kind of the standard what Google has. And I can go through here and I can scroll and I can find whatever I'm looking for. I don't remember the name of any of the drippy ones, or otherwise I would just search for it right here. But I can search and I can look down. That one looks kind of creepy. If I see what I like, I click here. It adds it automatically over here into my fonts. If I don't really see what I'm looking for, on our slides over here, if we go down to fonts, there's a link right here, fonts.google.com. You can click here and you can open this link and it will take you to this like insane world of Google Fonts. I've not explored this in depth, but one thing I found that I really, really, really like is it has icons. So if you're ready and you're wanting to put stuff in that's not just text, but you want to add pictures, you don't have to go to Noun Project or Flat Icon or any of these other ones. You can go right here to Google Fonts and they have all these ready to go for you. I thought that was kind of interesting. And then you can also go and you can search by what are you looking for? What language do you want it in? Do you want it to be variable, like size and shape? Do you want it to be colorful? Do you know you want it to have those little, I don't know, I call it a tail at the bottom, like in a serif font? Do you want it to be without that little tail? What kind of classification do you want? And you can go through and you can filter and you can find all these different versions here. And let's say you want it to show you your own sentence. So this is the one my grandma used to teach me. How'd this go? The quick red fox jumped over the lazy brown dog. She said, this has every letter of the alphabet. This will show you everything. When you're practicing handwriting or cursive or typing, this is a good one to use. So if you wanted to, you could go through and you could just start looking. You're like, oh, that's beautiful. You want to add that in. There you go. It's ready to go. Okay. So just some additional exploring whatnot. I think the coolest part, personally, are the symbols. But if you're interested, there are additional fonts as well. For my preference, if I just go here to more fonts, this is plenty of options. And then you can do kind of the same idea. You can choose what do you want it in? Do you want a handwriting serif? How popular is it? Is it new? Is it trending? But like I said, if you want that kind of extra level, and I haven't explored this super in depth, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to learn with you or do some research on the side and get back to you. I feel like so far that's already a lot of information. I'm going to pause for a second. If anyone has questions or you want me to go back, show you how I got anywhere, let me know. But I'm going to pause for just a second. Okay, no one said anything. So I realized I skipped one thing. It's a little bit out of order on my checklist. So if you're looking at editing our scene, and let's say you want your whoever, students or staff, you want them to add specific things to your slideshow. What I can do is I can come in here and I can go, let's see, insert placeholder. I can insert a title placeholder. So I can say, click to edit theme style, right? This is going to be where you're going to put your title for whatever slideshow you're creating for me. I can go insert. I can go image placeholder. Okay, I want you to put in a picture in this rounded rectangle shape right here. I want it to be this big. So maybe you tell your people, okay, we're making an About Me slide deck. In the title, you're going to put your name. In that picture placeholder, I want you to add a picture of yourself doing something you love. And let's say we don't need this for right now. Maybe the last thing we do is we insert placeholder, maybe for a subtitle. And this is where I want you, if you have a nickname that you go by, I want you to put it right here. So this is your legal name. This is your nickname. This is where I want you to put your picture. So this is, let's say, the About Me slide. Okay, get out of that. So now if I insert my About Me slide, notice it's ready to go. Here's my placeholder. I click. It's like, oh, where do you want to pull your picture from? So this, we don't have to go, okay, let me go insert, let me go image, let me do this. It's right there. You just click that little piece. It's good to go. Same thing, adding the title. Now there's no need to format it. It's already formatted exactly the way I want it when I give it to people. I don't have to do the old school, like, let's see if I just make a blank one and I say, here's your text box, like, put your title here, right? And I tell them what to do. That has the placeholders already ready to go. Okay. If we are wanting to explore, so let's say we are trying to add, I don't know, news articles or pictures or something from the internet, you don't actually have to leave Google Slides to do that. So if you go Tools, and then if you go to, come on now, if you go to Explore, it pulls up on the side initially different layouts that might be of interest to you. So if you click here, it changes the layout of your slide to whatever that was. If you're like, please, no thanks, you can always undo that. Let's say though, I'm making a slide all about Halloween. I type Halloween here. These are results from the web. So let's say I want my students to see this, right? I can preview. Okay, here we go. And then here it is. So all I did is I clicked and I dragged it over. It drops that link right into my slideshow. I don't have to copy or paste or anything like that. It's just in, ready to go. Let's say I've typed in Halloween. That's adorable. Okay, so I'm previewing. Yep, that's super duper cute. Click insert, done, ready to go. Notice right here, it's already citing it for me. Where did you get this? What website is it from? It's linked, ready to go. So if anyone is like, hey, where'd you get that? Oh, I got it right here. This is where it came from. This would be awesome if you're having students do a research project. At least my students are not that great at citing where they got things. They just pull it randomly and they're like, yeah, look, I got a thing. And then if you wanted to add anything directly from your drive, notice it's already searching Halloween. So I did a Cami training a while back, and it was like a this or that Halloween edition. So this is already ready to go. It's like, hey, you have this thing. Is that what you wanted to add? Oops. So you can search your drive, kind of see what you already have on there too. So that was Explore. I went Tools, Explore, and it pops up this little window over here. Oh, and now that I've added stuff, it's like, hey, are you sure this is the right layout? You can't see your link. Try this instead. So then we could say this is all about Halloween and I don't know, blah, 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 blah. So this is suggested by Google itself. I didn't come up with this one. It was automatic in that Explore feature. And then if I wanted to search something specific, I typed it in here. So I see a picture of dogs. So I'm just going to type dogs real quick. And then again, there's web, images, or things I have in my Google Drive about dogs. All right. So this part has been kind of using a slideshow like a slideshow. There's nothing like really um, different that we're using it for. It's just a slideshow. If we wanted to transition though and use it as a graphic organizer, here's something we could do. And I do this all the time. So I'm going to start, oops, not a doc, start a new one. And I don't know if you guys have caught that, but all I'm doing to start a new blank slideshow is I'm typing slides.new. It goes right into my drive. Right now it'll be untitled presentation, but I can name it whatever I want, and then I can also move it around later. I do this a lot on the fly. If I'm like, I just need a blank thing to play with real quick, slides.new. You can also do it for docs. Drawings, I don't think that one works. I've tried it before. Sheets.new, a lot of those will work, and you can just do .new at the end. So let's say I want to make a graphic organizer. I would go File, Page Setup, because I want this to be printable maybe. I'm going to give these out to my kids on paper or to my staff members on paper. I'm going to do 8.5 by 11 and click Apply. So now my slideshow is the size of a piece of paper. Let's say I take this off, I take this off, and you could do the same thing if you wanted to. You could go slide, edit theme, but I'm just going to make one. So let's say this is all about Google Slides. You're like, ooh, that's tiny. This is size 14. When you print this, if you print this, it will be a lot bigger than it looks on this screen because it's taking a whole piece of printer paper and kind of paring it down to what we see here. So let's say I've got Google Slides. And so far we've talked about how to edit like normal slideshow. And then I want the same kind of box. So I'm going to duplicate in case you missed that. So I did Control D, but you can also come in and you can copy and then paste if you would like to do that instead. You can copy paste because I'm looking for the same shape. Notice it gives me these beautiful little grid lines. So I know they're lined up evenly. So now we're talking about graphic organizers. And then maybe within graphic organizers, maybe we've talked about, let's do a circle for now. If I hold shift, notice it draws a perfect circle. If I go shapes, oops, and I click on circle, it's not actually a circle, it's an oval. So I can do oval shape. I'm kind of strange and I like perfect squares and perfect circles. But if you're like, nope, I need it to be an oval, it is the same shape. So I'm going to go copy and I'm going to go paste. And maybe here we've talked about, I don't know, inserting, if I could spell, inserting shape. We've talked about adjusting page size. And then what I can do is I can come in and I can add a line, and it'll give me all these nice little, oopsies, all these nice little points. So then if I wanted to do a line again, I could do from the same point, and I can do here. So you can kind of break down and you can make your own little thinking maps. You can make fill in the blank versions if you wanted to have people like do this as an activity. But these work really well because you can add shapes and pictures and everything moves around. There isn't this invisible grid that, like, you know, in a doc, it kind of stays wherever your cursor is. You can move this around wherever you like. You can rotate, you can add color, pictures, etc. So if you wanted to use this as a graphic organizer tool, you could. And this is one of the ones I use all the time. The other ones, if I'm going to create a graphic organizer, is Google Drawings. But not everyone likes drawings. It's just a little different. But this one is kind of a good, easy go-to. And then you have it saved. It's ready to go, lives in your drive, just like all documents in Google Drive. Okay, the last two, and I'm going to go kind of quick. The add-on for Pear Deck, I'm just going to give you the, if you are interested, we have Gley Koenig, who is amazing, and Pear Deck Queen. It is essentially an add-on that does extra cool things within a Google slide. So in a Google slideshow, it makes it interactive. So what you can do is you can add different question types. So you can add where students would, or adults, I've done this in staff meetings before, would type out an answer. You can give them multiple choice, number, have them access a website, have them draw things freehand, have them drag icons. So I just did this one the other day. I gave my students a practice quiz. And what I did is I gave them these little icons and I said, okay, drag the triangle to where it's pointing to what you think is the right answer, like this. And then, I mean, it was not a graphic organizer, it was a practice quiz. And then when they went to use it, they get this little red triangle on their screen, they drag it, and I can see, oh, everyone thinks the answer is A. Oh my gosh, I need to talk about this. Like, that was not the right answer. So there's this kind of asking questions, there's adding audio. It gives students like a takeaway. So it gives them, here's what you clicked as the answers. They can use it as notes to study. Gley is queen of Pear Deck. I can answer some basic questions. I use it in the classroom some, but she would know a lot more than I would. I just wanted to let you know this is a slides only kind of feature, but it is quite awesome. It has the slides move as you move, the presenter, or you can have individual paste. There's that interactive feature. You get to see data on your end. So I have an iPad, I walk around and I can see student responses, and then I can highlight what gets shown to the class, what doesn't get shown. Answers show up anonymously if I want them to. It's kind of a neat feature. And then the last piece is going to be digital notebooks. So this is something that I've known about for a long time. Personally, I don't use. I use old school paper notebooks, which you're probably like, wait, if you're doing tech trainings, why are you using paper? I don't know. I'm a firm believer that tech has its place and paper has its place. And for me and my students, I think paper works better because they have it physically. They can flip through on the day of the test. They can use it. But if you are interested, this slide is just a ton of resources. So there's agendas and PLC notes and student-facing notebooks and journals and kind of different class tabs where you can kind of have everything all in one. But I'm just going to put this out as a resource. And I'm going to give you guys about, I think 7 should be okay. 7 minutes just to kind of go through and click and explore and test and see how things are going. If you have any questions, please let me know. But I'm going to get this started for you guys. And then if you have questions, by all means, please unmute, ask away. I am here to help. Okay, so that should have been about 7 minutes or so. I just wanted to show you guys real quick. You can do kind of normal page setup things like changing the margins. Do you want the background to be a specific color? What size paper do you want? But there is this new kind of page list feature. I'm not used to it. I don't use it very often because most of the stuff I do in my classroom, I'm trying to get ready for printing. But if you were interested, what you can do is you can go into File, Page Setup, and if you click Page List, I learned the hard way. When you click Page List, it changes it to Page List for everyone who's looking at the document. But notice it has just this kind of continuous look. There is no page break. So if I just go down, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going and going. It never jumps to a new page. It never does any kind of split, although I don't know if you saw it. Over here, it tells me I'm on page 2 of 2, but there's no break when you're going to look at it this way. Now, if you're like, yeah, but I need to know what it looks like when I'm going to go print it, you can go back to page setup and you can click into pages, and this will give you kind of the regular looking view that you're used to. So just a heads up, if you are interested, that was File, Page Setup, and then Page List. So what it does is it just makes it a little bit wider, and it makes it where you don't have that break in between pages. You can just kind of continuously scroll down and see things. If you prefer this view, you can always do set as default. I'm weird and old fashioned on this one. I like seeing my actual pages, but that is user preference. That is completely up to you. The next one is formatting text and headings. So this is partly going to lead into the next thing, table of contents. However, this is if, let's say you're sick of Arial and that is always your default kind of go-to font. What you can do, get rid of all this junk that I added. So this is some text. Let's say you decide, I don't know, you're feeling adventurous and you want lobster to be kind of your main go-to default. So this is some text. I really like that size. That looks awesome. I need my stuff big so that my audience can read it. What I can do, so I can go format, I can go into text, and there's these pieces. Yes, that's kind of the normal editing. But what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to go here to normal text, and I'm going to say update normal text to match. Okay, so update normal text to match. So now let's test and see if that worked. Nope, I did something wrong there. So if I want, I know what I forgot to do. Okay, so I'm going to update normal text to match, and then I'm going to go options, save as my default styles. Okay, so now if I go in, let's see if I refresh this guy, if it'll work, or if I have to start over. No, looks like I got to start a new one. Docs.new. Again, that's just kind of the quick way. So let's test. Oh yeah, that looks bigger already. So without having to change anything, I just started a blank document. I didn't do anything fancy. There's my new lobster giant, fancy looking. So if you're sick of changing your font on every single document, what I did is I went, okay, well, update normal text to match once I got it the way I liked it. And then I said options, save as my default style. So personally, I'm a fan of Lotto. And I'm going to say I want this size 11. So I'm going to say update normal text to match, options, save as my default styles. My default styles have now been saved. So it's that quick to change it. If you change it and you're like, oh my gosh, that is terrible, never mind, let me change it to something different. It should be pretty quick, pretty easy. And then the other thing I wanted to show you in here is you do have different options. So you can update what it looks like when there's a title, subtitle, headings, etc. This is just kind of your everyday regular default. So let's say I want to make this my title. Okay, so hello is my title. And then I'm going to say hi there. And I'm going to make this my first heading. So I'm going to apply heading 1. And then, I don't know, let's say this is how we say hi in my house. And then we're going to say howdy, howdy. This is how they say howdy next door. I don't know, I'm just making some stuff up so that you have something to look at. So let's say this is heading 2. Okay. Now, the reason I'm doing all of these kind of crazy headings is I'm going to go insert and I'm going to say table of contents. And then I have 3 options. So I can just have kind of plain text with page numbers. I can have dotted over to the page number, or I can have links. Let's say I want to try dotted. So notice, let me refresh this just so you guys can, so I can make sure it's the correct version. So I have a section that's called Hi There. Notice it's all the way left, kind of positioned. That was my heading 1. Now my heading 2 is a little bit indented, and it tells me both of these are on the same page. So if I wanted to have a document that was a little bit easier to access, maybe it's running meeting notes or it's like a staff handbook kind of thing, what I can do is I can insert a table of contents and it will auto-populate based on how I did my headings here. So let's say I'm like, you know what, actually I think howdy needs to be kind of in line with hi there. And then I refresh, it should pop it back out all the way left aligned. Uh-oh. There we go. Refresh there. Now howdy is all the way back out left aligned with hi there. So they are of equal importance. They're the same kind of level of information. So just a heads up, table of contents kind of goes with formatting. And then let's take a look. If we're going to insert, and there's different things. So you can insert all these kinds of different templates. So you can add meeting notes, emails, calendar events, coding, roadmaps, trackers, etc. So I did an email draft earlier today. I was emailing a whole bunch of students, but I wanted my co-teacher to see it beforehand. So to get this template, I went insert, and then I went building blocks, and then I clicked email draft. Notice it's grayed out because I'm currently in the email draft. So I can add just regular email addresses like this if I want. If I want them linked though, I can click at and then just start searching for people and it will link them in right here, kind of give me their information. Let's say I need to CC my boss. I want the subject to be test. And then down here is where you're going to write your email message. So, hi, this is a test of the doc email template. Now, let's say I share this doc with someone else and I say, hey, check this double, make sure it sounds right. If I get rid of this half done email address and I click the Gmail button, it pops up a new window, ready to go in Gmail, pre-written, pre-addressed. All I have to do is click send. So here too, it's 2. Here's my subject. Here's my message. All I have to do is click send if I'm interested. If I'm like, nope, not ready to send it, I can keep editing. There are lots of these. They're in insert and then building blocks. And then you can do same thing for calendar event, meeting notes, etc. If we're looking at smart chips, so smart chips are like this thing right here. Okay, so let's come down here. We'll go out of the email. Insert smart chips. So there's ones for what's the date. Okay. There's all kinds of these. They're just kind of information to have you go in. Let's say you wanted coworkers to vote on something. So you can add a voting chip for like, do we agree? We can insert a voting chip for, and then you can choose what you want. Thumb down. Do we disagree? So now if I shared this with you guys, you could click and it would tell me, oh, there's one vote for thumb up, or I can click again and I can make it go away. So just some kind of interesting pieces that maybe you hadn't seen previously. And those are under insert. There's smart chips for these kind of little gray bubbly things, or there's insert building blocks for those kind of pre-built templates if you wanted to use those. And then I just wanted to do two last pieces, voice typing and then editing, like how to share your document in different ways. So for voice typing, if you are interested, so if I go tools, voice typing, and then I click to speak. This is a test. I just want to see how well voice typing works. Right now I'm looking at a stuffed lion and a pink pen and 3 more stuffed lions and a little UCR bear. So this would be awesome for a few reasons. One, I don't have to sit there and type. I can just kind of stream of consciousness thought, talk at my computer, and it'll start typing things. Two, if you are working with students that need help with editing, you can give them this. You can say, okay, now go back and fix it. This is not correct, right? This is a run-on sentence. There's no commas, nothing like that. It does capitalize right here, but now you can go back and you can edit and you can kind of work on grammar and punctuation and things like that. But also, like if you have a hard time typing, you're in the car and you're like, oh my gosh, I really need to get this note down. You just click right here and notice it will do other languages. So I don't speak anything other than English, but if you wanted to type in another language via voice, you have that option. And then the very last piece, so I'm actually going to go back to the slideshow for this one. Let's get out of here. And I'm going to scroll all the way down to the different suggesting or sharing options. So when you are sharing, if I were to go back to my document and click share, I have a few options. So I can do restricted, I can do anyone in the district or anyone with the link. If I do anyone with the link, I have 3 options. You can view it, just you get to look at it and do nothing. You can comment on it, or you can edit it. So if you're looking at the different versions, okay, so commenter is going to be able to kind of add suggestions and whatnot. So if I do anyone with the link is a commenter, I copy that link and let's go to new incognito window, paste that in there. So this is anyone with the link is a commenter. Notice if I'm like, no, that's not correct. When I click delete, it gives me a suggestion. Hey, anonymous user thinks we should delete the word stuffed. So then if I get rid of this and I go back to my version, notice here, it's like, hey, they think we should delete the word stuffed. And then as the owner, I can accept or reject that suggestion. So if you are trying to draft something with colleagues, or maybe you're working with students and they're drafting essays, but you don't want to change their essay directly, you can have them share it with you as a commenter, and it will let you leave comments like this. So that's why it's called commenter. You can go in and you can edit, but it doesn't actually make those changes. It just gives the owner comments saying, hey, so-and-so thinks we should do this. And then the other two, so if we're going to share, Viewer, again, is just, you can look at it. You can't really do anything to it, but you can make your own copy if you wanted to make any changes. And then editor, you have pretty much full access, just like the owner. You can do everything. And then if you wanted to, you could open it to anyone in our school district or just specific people. And then they have this handy little button here. You can copy the link. Just a quick way to get that kind of shared out to everybody. Okay. I think that was everything on my checklist, which means it should be everything in the slideshow. There are tons and tons of pictures if you guys wanted to go in and look at different options.